What's up, everybody? Hello, welcome to Carlinea Meetup.
Hello.
This is a radio show where creative arts, entrepreneurship, and mental health meet. If any of that is for you, you and I can meet up right here on moncoradio.com every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello to Instagram Live. I'm your host, KP Carlinea. You can call me Kim. You can call me KP. You can call me friend, whatever you like. On today's show, we have a special guest, Dare, a.k.a. WayvyDon.
Hello. Boom, boom, boom.
Before we dive into that, shout out to my small business, Carlinea. I handcraft scented products for creatives to feel inspired while they are creating. Products like candles, wax melt. All right, so everybody, welcome, Dare.
Thank you.
Round
Shout
of
out
applause.
Kim. Shout out Team Sugars in the house. Boom, boom, boom.
So Dare is a mixed media painter. He vlogs his art on his YouTube and literally asks people on the street what they think. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. It's my first time out here, I had a little drive. Yeah, man. I saw, it was nice just seeing some trees and stuff, getting out of the city a little bit. It's nice.
Yeah. How long did it take you again? Like 45?
Yeah, 45 about that, yeah.
So how have you been feeling this past week? Like, I like to do a mental check-in.
This past week, it's been definitely a roller coaster, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but today is definitely on the up and up,
Yeah.
So, I, as an artist or just as a person, I consider myself pretty emotional, I feel it pretty heavily, so, yeah, I've been feeling a lot of feelings lately, but I think I'm getting a handle on them now.
Okay, and what's something you learned in the past, let's say just this season?
This season, I think I learned how to be gentle with myself and with other people. I think I'm somebody who likes to push, who likes to aggravate, and I think sometimes it's cool to just, be gentle and be calm.
Push in what way?
Well, I see a lot of issues in the world, and I see myself as somebody who has to do something about it.
Okay.
Shape
you
and
gotta
change.
fix it.
Yeah. And a lot of the ways that I see to do it is to to fight, physically or emotionally or mentally, artistically.
I hate to be that girl, but what's your sign?
I'm a Libra.
Okay.
And Libra's also scales.
That's on brand.
Balance,
I was gonna say they say Libra is like the government of the zodiac.
Diplomat,
Diplomat, thank you, that's the word I was looking for.
So I'm leaning more into the more diplomatic side of the Libra, the more charming,
Okay.
Yeah, trying a different route instead of just pushing, just trying to coerce.
That does not, wait a minute.
To massage it, a little more gently.
Just not be so harsh like you said.
Yeah.
I guess coerce just always have a negative connotation in my mind. But
yeah.
I know what you mean. We're talking about something positive.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I know you're AKA WayvyDon. Where does WayvyDon come from? And how do you spell it?
WayvyDon. Wavy stands for We Are Your Vocal Youth. That was retroactive. Yeah, that didn't come up. I just kind of figured that out after I was trying to, but
oh, that's okay. We here now.
Yeah, exactly. Everything happens for a reason. And it was my Twitter @ it just kind of came out of nowhere. Really, I was like, wavy, cool, Don guy, and so I think it just kind of snowballed after that. Yeah.
It does have a good ring to it. Like you could say it easy, like. Follow me on YouTube at WayvyDon.
Easy, boom.
Yeah.
Makes for a good logo too,
True. I've seen your logo. It's nice. I didn't even realize it was on your...
Come on.
Okay, I'm picking up the pieces here.
WayvyDon.com.
Wait, no, plug that. Don't be shameful.
WayvyDon.com. Y'all can cop some merch. Yes, sir. WayvyDon.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to have to check that out. I didn't know you had a website.
Good.
So before we dive into the nitty gritty, well, first off, we're going to be talking about fear as a creative.
Ooh, I like
putting your art out there for consumption.
Right.
But before we dive into that, I do have a song for you guys. This is called Come Together by The Internet. I do love, I love when people have good interview questions.
Oh, for sure. When they really dig deep.
I like digging deep. I like just reflection a lot. That's so dumb. So, yeah. I would now be a radio personality, like as full-time. probably not, because I want to be more in visual media.
Right.
But let's see where the wind blows me, where God takes me. You never
Amen,
know.
Right? Amen.
If this is my door, I'm gonna bust through it.
Facts.
So we'll see.
Yeah. But I mean, even so, like radio's almost, like becoming more visual because you have
exactly.
Like,
it is so true.
Satellite radio.
Because I'm putting it on YouTube.
Exactly.
People put their podcasts on YouTube.
Exactly.
And I honestly don't feel like learning the whole podcast platforms, which I'll probably end up learning anyway.
Right.
So YouTube I'm already really familiar with. So I'm just like...
And I feel like podcasts, for me, there's a certain connotation with it. Because I like to think of it more like a talk show, I think that might even incentivize people to,
Yeah, talk show. That's the word. Yeah, definitely talk show. I love talk shows. I always wanted my own talk show because all I do is talk. All I did was get in trouble as a kid for talking in class. What's up? Welcome back. Welcome back to Carlinea Meetup. This is a radio show that meets every Tuesday at 6 p.m. on MoncoRadio.com. We talk creative arts, entrepreneurship, and mental health. So if any of that is for you, we can meet up every Tuesday at 6 p.m. So we have our lovely guest Dare here, WayvyDon, aka WayvyDon.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Welcome back. That was the internet come together that was just playing. So what did we go over? We just kind of did a mental health check-in, really.
What about you? How's your mental health going? How's your week going?
I'm getting the itch with my job. I just want to be so badly making money from all of my creative ventures.
Right.
And it's not there yet. It hasn't monetized yet.
Right.
But I did just really get a cool opportunity, which I guess I can't talk about yet. So
NDA is okay.
No, not NDA. Right, not that crazy. No. But it is a great opportunity. But just to say, I think I'm learning more patience and perseverance. And I feel like I'm a patient person with most stuff. Little stuff, no. But yeah, I'm just learning that just persevere, because the timing that you think things are supposed to happen a lot of times is not a good timing.
That's massive.
It's really not. And then, of course, what did they say? Hindsight is 2020. And you look back like, you know what? I wasn't ready for that.
Right.
So, right. God knew I wasn't ready for that in whatever capacity. Or I also like to look at it as your purpose is not just about you, and it aligns with other people too, and so other people need to get in alignment too.
Damn.
Because what if you are doing everything right, quote unquote? You just need to keep doing everything right.
Right.
Why stop?
Right.
So that's what I've been learning since January.
Amen.
More patience.
Amen. Love that.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a hard lesson though. When you're just ready to go.
You just gotta wait.
So when did you first start making art?
That's a good question. I first started making art, young. I was as far back as I can remember, I was writing stories and drawing and doodling. I think I really started taking it seriously, or thinking that I could draw, or actively trying to improve in drawing when I was 8 or 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you take lessons, or you just kind of kept practicing?
I didn't take lessons until I was in high school, so maybe, or I guess technically middle school, so 14-ish. But my mom asked me if I wanted to take lessons, and I told her I was a freelance artist and I didn't need to take lessons.
Okay.
The first time she asked
And
me.
how do you feel about that, looking back, saying that?
Hindsight 2020, like you say, you can always learn something from somebody.
Yeah.
And I love, shout out Miss Howard, Anne-Marie Howard, my sensei,
okay,
my art
Miss
teacher.
Howard.
Yeah. She taught me a lot, not even in art, no, not only in the art, but just about life. She's also a woman of faith. So, and seeing her work, and she would go out and say she's seeing God in the sky and just paint looking up and just create these faces and stuff. And of course, a 13, 14-year-old, me and my boys are laughing at her,
Okay. Yeah.
But of course, hindsight 2020, looking back now, and I'm seeing faces in the sky now, and so it's just everything.
Full circle.
Full circle, man, for real.
Yeah. Do you think that, because I always see like the little, like the basis of like people, like I just think drawing is so hard. Like, I don't even know what it's called, the frame, when you just draw the frame first and then you build on it and
right.
then it turns into a person.
Right.
I don't know how. What do you think the hardest, coming from your side, what's the hardest part about creating like visual art with media?
Yeah, I think it's easier to do more like abstract things and things from your imagination. I think drawing from life was something that I didn't really excel at or like practice hard until I went to college, and like figure drawing and like nude figure drawing and all that kind of stuff, didn't have access to it back home. So I think that observation and really like, even when you're not drawing, just like looking at people's faces, trying to see what makes their face unique, and just really like observing and looking at someone deeply, you know?
That's crazy.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like not even about like to capture someone's essence on the paper. Sometimes it's not even about like the physical features, but about like the spirit and the soul behind it, to really like give the portrait the essence of the person.
Where do you communicate that through the most? Like, is it through their eyes?
Yeah, it's the eyes.
It's the eyes for sure?
For sure.
Oh, snap. I got an answer
too.
right.
Yeah, the eyes for sure. But yeah, definitely all in the eyes. Window to the soul, they say.
Okay, right. I mean, it is true, because you can tell somebody can say one thing and you're looking in their eyes and you're like, that's not what you're...
Yeah, that's why...
That's not what you mean, you know, that's not what you're thinking. Yeah, that's true. So, how did you get into paint specifically? Like, how did you land on that medium?
Yeah, I think it was about a mixture of accessibility and what Miss Howard, you know, that was also her medium, and so I kind of learned from her in that regard. And yeah, and then in college I kind of branched out a little bit more and tried different things, and now I'm trying to like do more like digital stuff, you know, and do it. Okay. So do
you actually draw on the computer? Like, you have a electric
I got a tablet.
Yep. That's
I started
cool.
off with like a little shitty, bad tablet where you have to look at the screen and it's just like a mouse pad and a pen. And then eventually, Yikes. So that was very it was just jarring, you know, to like not look where you draw. But I think it taught me something, and so now I have the actual screen where I can look where I'm drawing.
Okay.
But definitely, like on Instagram, I follow a lot of like I love the graffiti lettering, you know, where it's like almost not even a word, but it's like an icon, you know, and you have to really like look at it hard to tell what it says. You know, it's not evident immediately.
True, because you can't read some of them.
Right. I like art like that, where you really have to like kind of double take, you know, and be like, wait, what? What is that? Does that say, huh?
I feel like there's a deeper psychological meaning to that.
Oh, for sure.
What do you think it is?
I just think it's like, that's when you know you're interesting, or you're created something interesting.
Okay.
Because if somebody can just kind of read it immediately, or even like people, you know, if someone can just like see you, tell exactly what you're about immediately, there's not as much to talk about, as opposed to if they have to like ask you questions, or if you have unexpected interests, you know, then they become engaged. And I think art is about engagement. It's about capturing their attention, you know.
Do you think it's heavily... Is it ever... Well, this goes into what I was going to ask you next, which was, like, where do you get your inspiration from? Because is it always based on perceiving other people and perceiving the world around you, or is it also perceiving yourself? Well,
I guess sometimes I don't have a division between the two, you know? So it's like everything is kind of... Because, we're on this rock that's hurtling through space thousands of miles an hour, that's orbiting around a giant ball of gas, you know? And so sometimes I feel like we're all just like cells in one body, you know? So there are divisions sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's like a mirror almost. It's like we're all kind of different facets of the same thing, you know?
Well, they do say that we're all just reflections of each other.
Right.
And like when you don't like somebody, or you do like somebody, it's something about yourself that's reflecting. It's always, I don't know, I have a hard time wrestling with, is your interaction with people always projection then?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. And I think like that's our innate state, but I do think that there's a way to remove yourself and try to be a more passive observer, but it's never going to be completely objective, you know, it's always going to be tainted by your own biases and stuff.
Yeah, true. Because you have your own your own life.
Right.
So I wonder, now that just makes me think, like, when you're drawn to people, are you just, is it a conceit then? Are you just drawn to, like, the qualities you like about yourself?
I think that it could also be you recognize a lack of something in yourself, too.
True.
So, like, as of late, I've been drawn to people who I think are a little bit softer than me, because I think that
that's in your lesson.
You know?
You trying to learn something.
Exactly. Always trying to learn something.
That's true.
No better teacher than experience, you know?
Yeah. So last week, my guest, we were talking about the mental health of being a creative and how you have to pour into yourself. She calls it like a 2-for-1 ratio, where you got to give yourself 2 in order to just give anything. Because if it was just 1-for-1, you would always be empty every time you go out. But I think what's so interesting about creating is that sometimes you go, like, you call it writer's block, or you call it whatever block, a creative block.
Right.
But sometimes I think it's just you needing to just live more so that you have more to intake to create about.
For sure. Most definitely.
That's what I feel like inspiration is. Inspiration is like all of life.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So if you don't take the time to stop creating and live, what are you going to create about? You got to have experiences, right?
100%. My mom used to say that everybody should have enough experience to write a biography by the time they're 21. And so that's something that I really took super, like, seriously, because I was like, you know, maybe she told me when I was like 14, 15, I was like, dang, like, I want to, you know, really live and really, like, remember these things, so by the time I'm 21, I can be one of those people, you know?
Yeah. Do you feel like you have a lot of those experiences?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You went in? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
What's a new experience that you feel like you want to take on? Like, just this year, small or big, like skydiving? Because I see a lot of people going skydiving, and I'm sorry, that ain't me.
I think I gotta live a little bit more before I throw myself out of a plane willingly strapped to another human being.
Skydiving is crazy.
Yeah, it's a little much.
But they always come back like it was the best time of their life.
Yeah, that's good for them. Yeah.
I think psychologically, they talk about it's like getting over. Like, that's the most intense fear you could have, basically. You're just threatening your life. You're throwing your life out of a plane.
Yeah.
So I guess for you to land, it probably is so trippy, like, oh, I can trust life a little more, or I can trust maybe a higher being, or...
Right.
I still ain't doing it, though.
No, never.
Yeah.
Not me.
I'm not doing that. Anybody on Instagram ever been skydiving?
Or wants to go skydiving
Or wants to go skydiving. You let me know, and I'll send you a bill to a therapist. Just kidding.
The closest that came, my cousin wanted to do, like, they call it, like, the sky coaster. So, like, they just kind of, it's like a bungee. So, like, kind of, like, pick you up, and they just kind of drop you, and you just swing, you know?
Okay. I could do that, though.
I mean, I was terrified, but I did end up doing it with my... I wouldn't have done it by myself, but it's because, you know, he really wanted to do it, and I wasn't about to let my boy go up there by himself, you know, and make me look bad. So, but I closed my eyes the whole way up, because they take you up real slow, and then when you get to the top, you have to pull your own cord.
What?
Yeah, so it was 3 of us. It was me and my 2 cousins, and so the cousin who had the cord wasn't the cousin who wanted to do it. So we got to the top, and he opens his eyes. He's like, Jordan, I can't do it. Oh, I'm too... And he's just in the calmest voice.
Oh, no.
He just said, Yannick, pull the cord. Pull the cord, and just open my eyes, and you literally just see the ground rushing up, and then you just, you know... Yeah, it was cool.
I could do indoor skydiving.
Yeah, same.
I said I wanted to do that, like, a few years ago, and I don't know if... I probably would... It would probably take me an hour to like, get the courage, but I think that's the closest I can come to it.
Yeah.
But the bungee... Maybe that'd be the second closest I can come to it.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, we're going to have a musical break again. This is SWV, Use Your Heart. This is my favorite. So nobody can tell me different that this song is not a gospel song. This song is gospel, okay?
So it's kind
wow, how long did that take you?
I don't know, man. Probably like a month or so.
Wow, so wait, what do you normally ask when you're on the street?
Oh. I just ask if they want to talk about art, and then I just ask them what they think about it, what it makes them feel. I got some really good. There was this one couple. I think there were a couple who walked by who like really gave some really like emotive answers and stuff like that.
I'm getting like victory.
Victory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely triumphant over something. I mean, you got the clouds.
Right.
Yeah, but he's been through a battle for sure.
Yep, definitely. I think a lot of my, well, like I was talking about, the fight, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of my pieces in the next one is definitely, it's a literal. I'm a big fan of Godzilla, big fan of anime.
Okay, I've never seen it.
So
I don't watch anime either, so I'm a lame-o.
I don't know about that, but a lot of my pieces like kind of revolve around. You know,
Okay.
The anime, the kind of like fights, because that's.
Now this one I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you love about it?
Well, I love the colors drew me first.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it. You got a lot of battle going on. But like triumphant though.
Yeah. And I try to like focus on the city a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think that like Philadelphia is fighting a battle, you know. And I would like to be part of it.
Yeah, that Godzilla could be anything.
Right. Exactly.
It could be anything. Oh, I see the ghost in the building. That's deep. Dari, aka WayvyDon.
Hello.
He is a mixed media artist, and we were discussing art inspiration and how he's been what we've been learning in this season. So he actually brought in one of his pieces, and I'm gonna try to describe it to you. Maybe that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Through the radio.
Do it.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Awesome.
What we got? Okay, so this piece, I feel like a big theme in his art is definitely battle, triumph, and everything is kind of large. Like, people are large. Like, it's a lot of character. Okay, so we got, it looks like angel.
Oh, yeah.
An angel, and then like the evil on the other side. The evil is chilling, kicked back, but the angel is stressed, ironically, but kind of looking out for people, and the evil is definitely not looking out for people. Like, they're smaller people. This probably makes no sense over the radio. Sorry, y'all.
But they're making their own pictures in their heads.
Okay, true. But I feel like the theme is that good, this is what I'm getting from that being a good, nice person is stressful. And it's the harder road because you're looking out for not just yourself, for other people. You're considerate about these people that's down here that are smaller and like on the side of the road.
We're looking up at you. And
evil is, you could be chilling if you want to be a jerk through your life. It might be less stressful, but I feel like you don't have much going on for yourself.
That's deep. And that's why I really love talking to people about the art, is because like every time I just see it from a different perspective, you know? Because like I don't even really...
Yeah, what were you thinking when you created?
I don't even know. That's the thing. It's like I almost like black out, you know?
True.
And then I come back and I'm like, oh, what is this? So that's kind of why I have to like talk to people, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm just kind of the messenger, you know? I'm just here to deliver the message, and you guys can...
Well, what was going on in your life when you made it?
I think there's definitely like the good and the evil, and like there's... I work in high school, and so I'm a mentor, you know, to a lot of small
very on brand
people. And so, yeah, I think like you articulated it so well, where it's like...
thank you.
It is the harder route, but it's the one that we have to take, you know, if we want to create a better future for ourselves, you know, first and foremost, and then for our communities and our families and our friends and everybody else around the world, you know, and to really just accept that we are like this giant organism, you know. I've been watching a lot of like YouTube videos about just the nature of humanity and how we're not built to be alone, you know, in any capacity, really. We have to be in communities, and we have to work together.
But this country is so
divisive, dude.
Yeah.
And like, I was in school and they're talking about, oh, you got an Android, oh, I got an iPhone, you know, and it's like they find all the most minute things to nitpick and to divide us.
To be fair,
over,
we're just joking. Okay. I just want your bubbles to be blue and not green.
You know, oh, your camera in the middle, my camera on the side. You got one camera, I got 16 cameras.
Right.
Like, you know?
It is very divisive. Everything, and it's such an independent culture.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you gotta, in this city too, you gotta come up on your own.
Right.
You gotta be at the highest level on your own.
Right.
And then you can, do what you want with the power. Some people, bringing people up with them. And then some people are just using it as an ego boost because they want to be at the top.
Right.
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah. And even like, the phrase, you're born alone, you die alone.
Yeah.
I was like, some YouTube video, I guess, and they were saying, you're not born alone, you're at the very least born with one other person.
Yeah, true.
Because your mom has to be there.
You're definitely not born alone.
You might die alone, sure, maybe. But definitely you did not come here by yourself.
That's so true. I never even thought about that.
And my mother, she's started saying this thing, we enter heaven 2 by 2, and so I've really been kind of like,
oh, your mom seems so sweet.
Sure, I don't know about that, but she's definitely very insightful.
Gotta love moms though.
Love my mom. Don't know if I would describe her as sweet, but definitely much love. Shout out Joy Dawn Marie Marcel, lady who brought me here. Shout outs for me.
That's who you came in with.
That's who I came in with.
Right. So speaking of your art, okay, so if you don't know WayvyDon, which after today you will be well acquainted.
Yes, sir.
This man takes his art, and I commend him. Takes his art. He goes around in Philly. The video I saw, you were at Love Park too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goes around in Philly, puts it up on an easel, y'all, and then as strangers walking by, yo, you trying to talk about art? Specifically my art. What do you see when you see this?
Right.
So that's why I just did the whole thing. Like, I wanted to be a part of his show. But I commend it because I know that takes so much courage.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you come up with the idea, like, this is the way you wanted to share your art?
I think it was just like, because I wanted to put it out there. I want people to see it, and so divine inspiration, I guess. I'm not even really sure how, and I guess like I see other, there's a guy on YouTube, Sneeko, who does kind of like public interviews,
Mm-hmm.
and so I kind of wanted to go do something in that vein where I do public interviews and say, okay, well, what do I want to talk about? Okay, I want to talk about art. Well, let's just talk about my art, and then it just kind of snowballs out. Just take my art out and ask what they think about it, and so hopefully like that, if I get, a good enough interview, that those conversations will snowball like this one does into bigger issues, and we can just talk about life and stuff like that, That's
Do you usually get...
Not yet. But I haven't been going out because it's been a little bit cold, and I need a cameraman if anybody wants to come and help me shoot.
What's the vibe you usually get? Are people like shy, or are they just kind of like in a rush, or when they do stop, what's the vibe?
I think that most people are in a rush, and I think too, like to kind of counteract that energy too. Like, for example, when I'm in the shower, I try to slow myself down and have that as like meditative time where I'm like caring for my body instead of just like scrubbing it like a car, trying to get in and get out,
Yeah.
I don't always succeed, and so I think like trying to carry that energy into like a public space and slow people down, and get people to just take them out of their heads, because I think like a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression comes from just being in your head too much,
going with the routine.
Yeah. And so I think just like trying to pull people back a little bit, and then one thing that I realized that works is like lowering the stakes. So if somebody was kind of like on the fence, I would say just one word, just say one thing, and that would like bring them in a little bit more. Like, okay, well I can do that, and so I think that. And I do think also people generally match your energy. Yeah. So if you kind of come out and just try to be as bubbly, as high octane, as just passionate and excited as you can be,
sure,
they might be on the other end of the spectrum. And
they'll be like, oh, he's nice. Let me.
Right. And they might not always stop.
Take some time.
But at least I'll get a smile, or I'll be like, get a little bit of validation, and that can go a long way too.
Yeah. So do you have any tips for getting over that fear of like putting yourself out there? Because I make content calendars for a lot of people, and the number one thing you hear is like, it's anxiety. Like immediately thinking of putting yourself on social media, on the internet, it's anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm used to it now. I still get nervous, and I don't feel like it's ever gonna go away. But I'm just like, do you have any tips for those people? Because I have my tips, but I want to hear your tips for people trying to get over the fear of like putting their self out there.
I think one of my biggest tips is to just create an alter ego. You know, if you're afraid of putting yourself out there, then don't put yourself out there. Put something else out there. You know, if you have to make a different name or just like removing, and also like the fear is often from what you think would happen or what you think people are thinking, you know. And I think once you just kind of once you accept the fact that I have no idea what's going to happen and I don't know what people are thinking, and then if I get to choose what I think is going to happen, then just choose the best outcome, you know. Choose my dreams are going to come true. They think my art's dope, you know. Until they prove me otherwise, I get to decide, you know. And so I think like that perspective shift and just like boosting yourself. If you gotta look yourself in the mirror and be like, I am confident, I am this, I am that, you know, those affirmations definitely work. And that's, you know, part of what WayvyDon is. It's like my Batman, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I get
cool.
to be who I am. I get to be whoever I want to be, and like, you know, let's live my dreams through that alter ego.
I think sometimes, especially if you're trying to make money off of like who you are, you're thinking you can't make that alter ego. Like these celebrities, like they're characters. Most of the time. And
you cherry pick the parts of yourself
that are real.
You know, of course.
But you don't have to show everything.
Right. You curate yourself.
Nobody wants to do that anyway.
No, it's tiring, and nobody wants, you know. And so I think it's also important to have parts of yourself that you keep to yourself, you know, and you have parts of yourself that you make public. If that's the route that you want to go down.
That's good tips.
Thank you very much. What are your tips?
My tips were geared around like the negative self-talk, like you said. Most of the fear is coming from what you think people are going to think or what you think is going to happen. And I'm not always, let me give myself credit, because I'm always like, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. I'm much better. But I do have a lot of negative self-talk that I always have to battle. Like assuming the worst possible outcome. We were just talking about this last week. But I'm like, well, I'm going to put this video out there and somebody's going to be like, I don't know, just say something totally off the wall. And it's like, okay, somebody might say that if you have like 1,000 comments. But you're not getting 1,000 comments. And people, and then also check the track record. Whenever you put something out, people are always supportive. Like, focus on the positive. And the people who aren't, quote unquote, supporting you doesn't mean that they hate you anyway. Or they hate whatever you're doing. But yeah, that and imposter syndrome. If you just remember that literally all of us are out here, we don't know what we're doing. It's just life. We're figuring it out, and nobody is better than another person. So I feel like that can calm the imposter syndrome, because sometimes I get that voice that's like, who do you think you are creating an event? Like, who does she think she is? And it's like, who is saying, nobody's ever said that to you. Why are you saying that to yourself? And so I think when you just actually say whatever negativity that you're saying out loud, you can be like, all right, I'm tripping.
And that's the big part. Like, you know, shadows only exist in the dark. When you shine a light on them, they disappear. And so I think that's a big thing. It's like, okay, is that how you feel? All right, here's the mic, and then it's crickets, right?
True.
And it's like, all right, so shut up. Let me do me.
True.
And,
go ahead.
Just to talk about like the kind of like the worst case scenario. I was talking to this about a friend the other day, like how we've evolved to survive, you know. So a lot of times when it was life or death, we had to assume the worst to ensure that we would survive, you know? And so I think now that we're at a point where that's no longer the case, we have to start like overriding those biologically, you know, ingrained thoughts that this isn't life or death, you know. If somebody doesn't like, you know, I won't die. I might cry, I might feel bad for a couple of days, but I'll get over it, you know? And that's okay.
So true.
And, you know, the only way to improve is through criticism, you know. It might be hard to hear sometimes, but somebody's got to tell you you're not good for you to get better, you know. If everybody tells you you're great all the time, you get complacent.
True. Why do you think it's important to share your art?
For that same reason, you know. I think that it's like, actually, so I describe, like, art itself as, like, that point of contact, you know. Like, when somebody sees the piece and, like, they have that visceral reaction, like, I feel like that in of itself is art, you know, because like a painting locked up in a basement somewhere is not art, you know. It might be like a piece of art, but it's
you don't think it's art?
It's like a piece of art, but like art is meant to be seen, it's meant to be experienced, it's meant to be shared, you know?
Right.
And so, like, the value in art comes from when a lot of people know about it, or a lot of people have seen it, or a lot of people respect it, you know? And so, I think it's very difficult to be the kind of person that I would like to be, you know, or the kind of artist that I'd like to be without sharing my stuff, you know? And I think it's important to get feedback, and if I gotta ask strangers in the street for feedback, so be it.
That's true. Because I was just thinking as I was driving, right? You know, when you have your deepest thoughts, I was like, what is the point of trying to get more people? Like, you have a YouTube. Yeah. Nobody wants to have their YouTube at 10 subscribers for 3 years. You want, what is the point of us all seeking a larger following? And I think you put that so perfectly, because I couldn't come up with an answer. I just knew that it was important to share art. I think, well, I guess I did come up with the answer, because conversation piece, relation piece, and also if you have a gift, I feel like you do have a responsibility to share it.
Most definitely.
So those are all 3 big things to me. But as far as the quantity of the audience, I was like, what is the point of that? Because I just didn't know what the point of that was.
And I think it is very easy to get caught up in the numbers, and that is also something that I struggle with, you know. It's like quality over quantity kind of thing, you know. And so I think on the one hand, it's like the more followers I have, the more people that I can inspire, you know. And like, for example, I don't see a lot of like kids in the school that I work at, like, believing in themselves that they can be like an artist or be a graphic designer. And I think like seeing somebody who has done it and then being able to talk to them or like see how they did it is very important, you know. On the other hand, it's like, if you can do that for 3 people, you know, like, is it better or worse than doing it for 300? Like, I don't know, you know.
I don't think so.
So I think that
in the same degree, though?
Right, that's the question, because it's impossible to give 300 people the same amount of care and attention that you would give to 3 people, you know? So, like, let's say it's like 3 in-person proteges, if you will, or like 300 subscribers on YouTube, you know? Is one better than the other? It's, you know, I don't have the answer. So, I think that it depends on, I guess, the ultimate goal of what your practice is and like what you believe in. And so I think for me the jury's still out on if it's like an ego, purely just ego, just I want 1 million subscribers, I want to be big, I want to do this, I want to do that, you know, or if I can have the same level of impact by just focusing on a smaller community and just trying to keep it local, you know. And I think that, like, as we move forward and as these corporations like Facebook and Twitter and Meta, whatever, get more power, I think that it's going to be more important to stay local and to like really invest in people that you can see and people that you can touch, and kind of divesting a little bit from the internet, because I think it's easy to get caught up in the numbers, you know. And then giving them that power, because if YouTube decides to take my channel, I got 10 million subscribers, but they decide, okay, you're no longer what we want, it's gone, and there's nothing I can do about it.
What are you going to do about it?
Right. So
that's why I say have a website.
Yeah, amen. WayvyDon.com, baby. So yeah, I think that there's definitely a lot of moving parts as it pertains to like the numbers.
I think social media has shifted more to smaller hubs. Because I don't know if it's Gen Z, if they did this, but it just seems like there's so much more time being taken out to focus on those smaller communities, like people who have 1,000 followers compared to 200,000 followers. And the reason why I brought up Gen Z is because they just have a different, how the younger generations, they have more of a fresher outlook and perspective, and we're all like, we have the wisdom, but we're tainted.
Right. Yeah, jaded.
They're like, I just see them on social media, and it's so different than millennials. Yeah,
for sure. I think the fact that like a lot of them were born in a world where Facebook has always existed,
Yeah.
Like that, I think that just changes everything.
Yeah.
They're just not as into it, maybe, or
they're so good at exposing people who need to be exposed to.
Oh, and they're just savvy with it,
Yeah.
Or like the fact that if you were to ask me or you to like make a phone symbol, like if you were to make a phone call, what would you do with your hand? Like how would you do it? Right.
Oh yeah,
that, right?
Old school telephone.
And so Gen Z does this.
Oh, that's so weird.
Because they only know smartphones, So like just that very small.
That's so funny.
It's like across the board. It's like little tiny things just add up into just completely different, like you're saying, perspectives and stuff.
If we can all come together and learn from each other, we would make this a better place.
Amen.
So where can we find you first off?
You can find me on YouTube, WayvyDon, WayvyDon.
Wait, spell it slower.
WayvyDon. Also on WayvyDon.com, same spelling, WayvyDon. And I am also on Twitter, but I'm currently taking a Twitter hiatus.
Oh, and I just got on Twitter. I just saw, the reason why I got on Twitter was because a writer that I follow, or no, she's a screenwriter editor, like in the industry. Anyway, she said that if you're a writer, you are supposed to have a Twitter. And I was like, I gotta make another thing.
Right.
So I try to be on Twitter and just share, now that I'm on it more, I'm like sharing my thoughts. But I want to get back to sharing like my actual writing, just like blurbs. Just little pieces of my writing and short stories and stuff like that, and like think pieces, I guess, and less of a diary.
Yeah, I think
which is it can easily turn into that.
Dude, that's why I had to take a
Twitter
break.
Is funny too.
It's hilarious. I love Twitter. That's why I had to take a break, because I love Twitter, bro.
You could be on it like 2 hours before you go to bed, and you're like,
just gone.
All these social media apps, though. But okay, so you're taking a break from Twitter. What's your Instagram? WayvyDon. WayvyDon.
Okay,
perfect. Anywhere else we can catch you?
That's it. YouTube,
on the
Instagram.
Streets of Philly,
in the
sharing
streets
your
of
art.
Philadelphia. Catch me at City Hall. Catch me at Penn's campus. Catch me at Temple. I might go out there.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Keeping it local. Trying to keep it local.
And you can find me at on Instagram. I got a few things. Instagram KP.CARLINEA. You can shop Carlinea.com. That's candles, wax melts, everything scented for your home and for your body. Shop Carlinea.com. You can also find me at shop.Carlinea on Instagram. And Twitter, I don't even know my Twitter actually. So that gives you a sign that you don't need to follow me on Twitter yet, because I can't even remember it.
That's marketing.
That's good marketing. But yeah, so thank you for joining us on Carlinea Meetup. We meet here every Tuesday, 6 p.m., MoncoRadio.com.